All right, welcome in everybody. I mean, how can you not get hyped watching something like that? I am Jim Cross. This is In Off the Bench. Daniel is not here. We got a special daytime episode, but we got to work with the schedule of our athletes, and we're honored and blessed to have Audrey Davis on today. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited.
Absolutely. Just like I was telling before the show, you women at Oklahoma are just a great group of characters. It's one thing to be talented, but like I told you, it's another thing to be outstanding. Academically, athletically, in the community, all those different things. But, before we get into your story, we got to talk. It is football season. I have seen the pictures. Y'all have been at the games. Talk to me about just, when you go to a university like Oklahoma, obviously we know the gymnastics, we know the softball, but football, it is king in this country. And so, what is it like, being at the Oklahoma football games? It just looks amazing.
It is so much fun. It's incredible. So, right now, during the month of September, we have a ton of recruits coming in. So, the hosts get to bring the recruits on the field for the football games. And we get to stand on the sidelines and watch the guys warm up and do all of their pre-game everything. So, it's really cool. And then just inside the palace is amazing. There are so many people there. I'm pretty sure that almost every single game, if not every single game, is sold out this year, which is amazing. And just the energy that's in there is so different from any other sport or athletics that you will ever go to. It's incredible.
Yeah, I mean, when it comes to football at a school like that, and I told you my daughter was a freshman at LSU, and her roommate in her dorm were trying to decide if they were going to go to the first game. And I bought them both tickets, and I told them that they didn't have a choice because I said, when you go to a school like that, you go to the football game. And so
Yeah.
better believe they went and said that they were thankful for me buying it because they had a blast. Football games are an opportunity. Really, I love seeing athletes who go support every sporting event that they can. Athletes supporting each other, but football game is just the whole university's there, all the athletes. Like you said, y'all get to be on the field. They honor you guys and stuff, and it's just a great environment. And now that Oklahoma's in the SEC, where most would argue they belong anyways, just with how good y'all are at sports, it's really cool. And so like you said, seeing the recruits, I saw Addison who came on the show recently with all y'all, and that's something that's really impressed me even more about y'all. And maybe it's a I don't know if it's y'all sport or if it's a guy girl thing, but upperclassmen in football and baseball don't usually hang out with the freshmen like y'all do. And I love seeing all the pictures. I've seen you, I've seen Danielle, I've seen Faith, all hanging out with them, doing different events for that. So I love that because that encourages them as they're starting, a big step in their journey.
Yeah, we want to help them as much as possible. I mean, we were all there in that position whenever we got to college, whenever we got to this university. It's not an easy transition. It's something that you have to learn and grow from. Every single year, you learn something new. Like, I'm a fifth year this year and I'm still learning new things. Like, being able to help them and also help yourself at the same time is amazing. And you want to be there for them because a lot of the time it's hard. Like, you're coming from places that are far away. Like Addison is coming from Pennsylvania. Like she is so far away. Like her family's not close. So we are her family whenever you get here. Like coming from Florida/Texas for me, like it is quite a long ways away. So you want everybody to feel at home and really enjoy their experience. So any information you can give them to help them will it'll just help the team in general. So we're all here for each other and we just want everyone to enjoy their college experience. It's supposed to be fun.
Absolutely. So speaking of fun and enjoying experience, we like to talk music with our guest. And some of the best concerts are the ones that you see that take place on the football field. So if you could see anyone in that football stadium musician wise, who would you want to see?
I would want to see either Zach Bryan or Ian Munsick. So I've been to both of their concerts. Zach Bryan played in OKC, and then actually Danny and I and one of our friends we drove up to Nebraska to see Ian Munsick. They're both country artists. I think either one of them in the Palace here at OU would be absolutely insane.
Yeah, I'm down for either of those. When it comes to country, we're okay with any answer as long as it's not Morgan Wallen at this point, because it's like the answer 9 out of every 10 times. And we actually appreciate him for his dominance. He's doing well that everyone's saying him, but when it's the same answer and we're trying to talk different topics, it's like, come on, man, we need something different. He's basically banned at this point, but I'm all about both your answers. I've grown to like country music more and more. There are some artists, I'm not gonna lie, it's not for me, but you can say that about any genre of music, right? Like, so
Yeah.
it's all different. But last question before we get into your story, sports movies. If you could pick a favorite sports movie that has inspired you, what would it be?
Oh, goodness. Um, a sports movie. I'm thinking wait, okay. This might be a silly question, but I'm thinking The Blind Side in my head. That's the movie of the football
Correct.
player.
Yes.
Okay, yes, yes, yes. Okay. I'm horrible with names of actors, movies,
That's
like, I can't name songs, but I know every single word. So anyways, The Blind Side, I feel like is just such an impactful movie. Like, you have people coming into a sport who have never played this sport before, don't know anything about the sport, but whenever you relate it to other things in your life and you make it more meaningful other than, oh, it's just a sport, kind of helps you through it, helps you grow in your sport. Like, instead of just saying like, oh, I'm a football player, like relating it to your family and protecting your family type thing, relating your sport to an outside cause really helps you a lot as you're going through the many years you're playing and continuing to do it throughout your life. So I feel like that movie is really inspiring, and it's really incredible to see just the story of other people growing within their athletic abilities. It's really cool.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's actually taking place where I'm from. I'm from Memphis, and
Wow.
I played football, but it was about, I don't know, like 6 7 years before Michael Orr. But I
Yeah.
definitely wouldn't wanted to line up across from him. He's a very large man as I've met him in person. But yeah,
Wow.
a very incredible story, and like you said, and it just shows what happens to me when good people branch out and do things for others. It's amazing what can happen. That's the main thing I take from that movie. But yeah, definitely a great overall movie, sports movie. But with that being said, let's get into your story. Talk about where you're from. You mentioned kind of Florida/Texas. Where are you from?
Um, I'm from Florida. I was born and raised in Florida, and then in 2011, I was like 9 years old. I moved to Texas, Frisco, Texas, and I went to Woga Gymnastics. I was there all middle school and high school, and then I came to Oklahoma, and now my family is back in Florida. So I have 3 older brothers, 2 of them are outside Orlando, and then my mom is up north of Jacksonville, so Florida is home for me.
Well, let me ask you first on the Texas front because you did live there. What is it about Texas? I find it to be truly intriguing. We've had over 20 gymnasts on the show now. More than half of them were from Texas and all elite level like yourself. And I find it funny because Texas and Texas A&M do not have a gymnastics program. Like, at what point do they look at around and especially because those two schools like to be dominant in
Yeah.
sports and be like, hey, do you realize we have all the best gymnasts in our backyard? I mean, it's so intriguing to me.
I know, I agree. I think I was just talking about this not that long ago. Like, why do they not have a gymnastics team, a D1 gymnastics team that people can go to? Like, they create some of the most top gymnasts that you ever see in elite and like going into college. Like you said, like more than half of them that have come here
I
and
mean,
taught.
Kaya said that if she loved living in Texas so much that she don't think she would have ever left home if there was an option there, which breaks my heart as an LSU fan, but I get it, right? Like, so I wonder how many of those ladies would have chosen a Texas or Texas A&M, especially if you were to get a large group of those elite level caliber, the kind of team you would assemble. But for Oklahoma and LSU's sake, they're perfectly happy with the way this is set up.
Yeah, yeah, I don't know, I know that they have, like, club gymnastics teams, but I guess they've just never wanted to do college gymnastics, so I don't know, but I feel like a lot of people would stay in Texas. I personally wouldn't have. I would have still gone, like, and experienced other states, other places of the United States, so I'm not sure.
So let's get to those brothers. Are they all older? Do you fit in the middle? How's this go?
They're all older, so I'm 22, and then my next brother is 24, and then it goes to 28 and then 30.
Wow.
And the 30-year-old Tanner, he has 3 kids, so I have 1 niece and 2 nephews, and then Samuel is the middle of my oldest brothers, and then Matthew, he actually did gymnastics. He's the 24-year-old. He did gymnastics at West Point, and now he is in the army. He's in Germany,
Oh, awesome.
and yeah, I'm the baby. I'm the youngest in my family.
Well, safe to say, people must have known not to mess with you growing up because there is an army of dudes just waiting for that opportunity if they do. So,
Yeah, they
um,
used to mess with me so much when I was younger. They would tease me and stuff. So now I feel like it's made me a better person, and now they're like the most protective people in the entire world. So I love them.
we have had so many athletes on here that they have been the younger sibling and they have talked about just having older siblings, whether it was because they played the same sports or because they picked on them or whatever the case may be, made them stronger for it. And so being a younger sibling seems to not be a bad deal. I myself have a sister that's 9 years older than me, and she helped make me who I am. So I understand it completely. And I think it's also cool that, your older brother competed in gymnastics. So, asking about him specifically, was he able to help you? I know that the gymnastics between men and women's is different, but it still feels like he would have been able to help you train and learn things as you were coming up.
Yeah, we're only 2 years apart, so we're really close, and we talk once a week at least, and, he definitely was a big motivation for me in gymnastics, just seeing him grow in the way that he was able to do this sport was really inspiring to me, and my 2 older brothers, they started in gymnastics and they changed sports, to, like, football and lacrosse and everything in between, but Matthew and I stayed in gymnastics, and we kinda had that bond about gymnastics. We would drive to gym together. Once he got his driver's license, he would drive me to gym, pick me up from home after he would go to school, and then we would go to gym together, just talk about life. And something that's so funny about us is that we both took sign language in high school. So in the gym, across the gym, we would sign to each other and just talk to each other. Like if we're having a bad day or something funny that would happen, we would be able to talk to each other across the gym. He was just absolutely he was a good motivator too. Like he really helped me on my hard days and pushed me through. Something my favorite memory of like us in gymnastics was I think it was 2017 um championships, P&G championships when we were both in I was an elite and he was also I guess men's elite if you will. We got to compete at championships together. It's men's and women's gymnastics at the same time on the same weekend. So we got to travel to California with our whole family and we got to compete on the same weekend, which was really cool because my parents would have to split up. My dad would go with Matthew and then my mom would go with me for the meets because we would always have them on the same weekend. But he definitely helped me throughout this sport and I still ask him advice every single day because sometimes you just need it.
Yeah, and that's awesome because I told you we've had so many siblings that have helped, but it's usually if it's the same sport, it's the same gender. So it's cool because being that even though male gymnastics, like I said, is different than female gymnastics, ultimately the athleticism, the work prowess that you have to come with, all that, and then the fact that y'all have had fun with it, right? Like you're talking about the sign language, so and that's really really cool that y'all have been able to kind of have that iron sharpens iron mentality within your family. So I got to ask you straight up, who's the better athlete, you or your brother?
um He's incredible. So
I just played a highlight video of you to start this thing. I would say you're pretty incredible yourself.
thank you. Thank you. I don't know, I think that we're both equally as good, like,
Oh, you
he
ducked it. You
I'm
ducked it.
I'm serious, like, he went to West Point, and that's not one of the top men's gymnastics schools, at all, like, by any means, and what he did at West Point, he, like, changed their entire, academy just by going there and showing them, like, it is possible to go through basic training and do all of these military things at the same time as competing at a high level in gymnastics, and he qualified. He went to NCAA's like 1 year without his team, and then 1 year with his team. He qualified individually and then as a team, which was really cool. So every year he kind of pushed himself to be better and better, and that's how I am too. Like I want to be a better version of myself every single year I compete, and so I think he's absolutely incredible, hands down.
Well, this episode is about you, but I got to ask another question because you've now intrigued me. We had Paul Skeens on here, and Paul Skeens went from Air Force to LSU, and he came on here and talked about the lack of availability for training time for baseball because of everything that they had military requirements.
Yeah.
Did your brother say he had the same thing? Like, you were really stretched and pinched for time to get to train and practice just because you have all your other requirements?
Yeah, he they definitely practice the least out of any university, or I guess academy compared to university. When they get there their freshman year, obviously they have that 6-week basic training. So they're not in the gym for 6 weeks straight whenever they get to their academy, which is crazy to me. I couldn't imagine going through that and then going back to gymnastics again. Like all that all that stuff, and then they have less gymnastics time. He would go into the gym in between every second of the day that he could go into the gym. He would, in between his classes, in between everything that they had to do, he would try and make time to go inside of the gym and work hard so that he could be the best version of himself whenever he got out there to compete. So they definitely have a lesser advantage when it comes to
Right.
competitions because of that amount of time that they don't have.
Yeah, I'm putting that in perspective. Outside of possibly an injury, have you yourself ever went 6 weeks without, practice or training? Probably not.
No.
Yeah, so that's tough.
Yeah.
So, outside of your brother, obviously you got your parents, you got coaches, everything. When you're coming up as a young gymnast, who is the most influential person for you?
Mm, I think that it was definitely my parents and my coaches in general. Like, I would not be where I am today without my coaches. And they really helped me, my Woga coaches. They took me in and helped me wherever I was at in my gymnastics career and kind of just pushed me to be the greatest person I could possibly be. And my mom did gymnastics when she was younger, and she grew up in the sport, and would she helped me with everything that I was struggling with, so I could talk to her about gymnastics a lot. So she was an inspiration for me as well, just going through the gymnastics career and having someone to talk to. But also I think that my coach Ryan, he's actually the head coach at Georgia now. He was my club coach, and he made me the best version of myself that I could possibly be whenever I was in club gymnastics. He knew what I could do and what I was capable of, and he made sure that I was doing that every single day, and I couldn't thank him enough for that inspiration and just pushing me to be a better person.
Well, because I've, been following gymnastics for the last 4 years now and become more well versed, the fact that you even say that he's the head coach of Georgia now tells me how good he was because Georgia over the last few years has gotten better and better.
Yeah.
And so if he's the one leading that program and he's the same one that worked with you, that tells me a lot. So, at Woga, you trained under Tatiana and Yevgeny. I don't know if I said that right, probably butchered it, but you know, I gotta ask, when we talk to most gymnasts, you're not able to have normal high school. There has been maybe one or two that actually went to school. Most of them had to homeschool. For you, what did academics look like when you were training with them?
Well, I did homeschool for middle school. but I wasn't actually really at home. I would go to the gym in the morning, do morning practice, and then I would have school, online school, and we would go upstairs in our gym. We had a little area that we had desks, and we would do school at the gym. Then we would go back downstairs and start practice again in the afternoon. So I would be there from like 7:30 in the morning to like 8 or 9 at night every single
Wow.
day of the week, just doing that. And then when I got to high school, me and the other girls that I was training with at the time, we all decided like I want to go to high school. I want to be able to have that experience. So it was perfect. Our high school opened up right behind Woga. So we could literally walk to school if we wanted to.
Nice.
Um, we went to school for a few hours. We did off campus PE. So the school was very generous and helped us out a lot with our schedule and being able to do elite at the same time. So we'll go to gym in the morning and then go to school and then come back to gym in the afternoon. And I did that for 2 years and then, or for, I mean, all of my high school experience.
Well, I mean, I'm so happy to hear that because one of the hardest things that we've been told from gymnasts is that transition from high school to college when they did homeschool, because you go from, basically doing academics by yourself all day to being in large classrooms full of people. And,
Yeah.
it's a culture shock. It's a whole different world than what you're used to. So the fact that you had the opportunity to experience real high school, be around other students, be in a real classroom, is tremendous. So I'm glad that they were able to accommodate you ladies and get that taken care of. That's awesome. So
Yeah.
when you're
It
killing it, go ahead.
it was just the best. Like, we have a handful of girls on the team that went and were doing homeschool and then come here to college and they're like, I don't even know what to do. Like, I don't know how to sit in a classroom type thing. So just also helping them, as we talked about earlier, like helping the freshmen out. Like, there's so many resources at your university and throughout the academic center, like for athletes specifically, they want to help you the absolute best they can. So there's just a ton of resources here to be able to help you fit in.
That's awesome. Well, that's a perfect segue to the question I was fixing to ask. So, being great academically, athletically, doing what you're doing, obviously had to have numerous options. So, why Oklahoma? Why was Oklahoma the school that you had to go to?
Well, I actually had quite a different experience recruiting than a lot of people. So whenever I was getting recruited, we were in like 8th grade going into high school. So we were really young. We had no idea like what we wanted to do in the future, anything like that. So I actually had verbally committed to Georgia whenever I was younger, and I was verbally committed there. I don't even remember how long. And all of their coaches had switched out and they got new coaches, and I just wasn't as sure about going there as I was previously. And at that time, one of the coaches from OU, Lou, he came to the gym and watched me practice and was like, if Audrey ever has any doubts or anything, like, well, not to me, to my coach, obviously, but like if she ever has any doubts, like let us know and we have a spot for her. And so my coach at the time, Ryan, he had talked to me and we sat down and we found out that the best option for me would be to come to OU so that I knew these coaches would be here. They've been best friends. They've been together since day one at OU. So um, I made the switch and verbally committed to OU, and then I was verbally committed for a while, and then signed my junior year. So it was a little different. I made that change, but I'm so beyond glad and thankful that I made that change. My family supporting me, just staying faithful to what I wanted to do in my
Yeah.
sport and grow as a person. This was the best place for me to be, and I could not be more grateful for the opportunity to be here, especially coming into my 5th year and having that opportunity too. It's home.
Yeah, our guest last night, Gavin Keelan, who just transferred to Tennessee in baseball, but was at Louisville. He committed, going into high school, same thing. And we've had so many guests come on and talk about, they don't necessarily have regrets with where they chose, but just it was too early to make the decision, and or some say they would have made the same decision, but they would have liked to have opened up those options, right? gone and made all the visits, checked it out, talked to the coaches and everything. So I really love that they made the rule change. I just
Yeah.
asking these, athletes to make decisions in eighth grade is just, I mean, it's unreal. It's kind of unfair because the
Yeah.
pressure's put on. So I love that that's changed, and you athletes are getting more of an opportunity to go check it out because even if you're going to OU, you owe it to yourself. I feel like to go, check out the other, schools of interest. Usually everybody has that top five, and just see that way you can confirm, this is where you're meant to be.
Yeah, I agree. It's like now they're 16 years old coming in instead of, I don't know, however old you are when you're a freshman. Like, we can talk to them and explain the experience to them way better now than whenever you're in eighth and ninth grade coming in and you're talking to these college girls and you're like, I don't even know what I want to learn. I don't know what I want to do with
Right.
my life. Like, now at least as a 16-year-old, you kind of have an idea. You have just an understanding of like what college is and what being an NCAA athlete is. Like, you can understand it more and also like build those connections with the athletes there a little bit better, the ones that you're going to be competing with in the future whenever you get here. Like, you'll be on the same team as them. Whenever we came in, it was like girls that were like almost, I don't even know, 10 years older, 8 years older than us. Like, you're not going to be on the same team as them. You don't really like build that strong connection. So now it's just a whole different ball game.
Yeah, no doubt. And so I got to talk right off the top with, I saw what you were doing there. I saw the minors in psychology and interior design, and I had to talk to you about that because it's funny and awesome to me. My wife got her original associates in interior design, and then she got a degree in fine arts, and now she's getting her master's in psychology. So
Oh,
seems like y'all got some similarities when it comes to the interior design, the kind of art world, and psychology. So y'all could probably relate. But I saw that and it was pretty funny. What it told me about you, basically, Audrey, is you're somebody that likes to watch thriller movies and decorate for Halloween, and watch a lot of Christmas movies and decorate for Christmas, because that's what you get from that. You're somebody who likes to decorate, and you probably like some intense thriller movies.
that is all so true. I do love decorating. I love movies, but actually I had to change the interior design thing. So, I okay, I graduated with a communications degree and a marketing minor, and the psychology and interior design was whenever I was coming into OU. So, I had wanted to do interior design my entire life. Like, that was a goal of mine. My aunt is in interior design in Florida, and she loves it. I love seeing what she does with it. That was my goal. But when I got here, they had let me know that the studio hours for interior design was at the same time as our
Mm.
practice was. So I didn't get to follow through with that. I had to change it. And then psychology, I was going to keep that as my second minor, but then I decided to kind of go the marketing route, and now I'm getting my master's in business administration. So I was all over the place. Like, I have so many different things that are probably listed off, and then I have none of them. I guess I'm complete opposite, but
As
I
long as you get a
do.
degree in something while you're there.
Yeah. So communications degree and marketing minor, and then I am on my MBA route. So that is what's going on right now.
I mean, if you go there for because you got the extra year, if you go there for 5 years and don't come out with something, we're doing something wrong there.
Yeah,
But
hopefully well, so my MBA program is 2 years, so I'll finish 1 year during this, 5th year, and then the next year I'll probably get a job and a part-time job and then finish my master's and then finally go into what I'm hoping to do in the future.
which is what, hey, it's still similarities because being that my wife went back to college, she's working and going back and getting hers. So
Yeah.
same kind of thing. So y'all still got a similar past.
Oh, yeah.
She's just older. But let's get into it. Freshman season, you accomplished everything you could have imagined individually, but instead of just listing all that stuff off that that anybody listening would know. Um, I've talked about you. You're the sixth OU gymnast we've had on here, and if there's anything I've learned, it's never been about individual accolades. It's been about team, and y'all end up losing in the championship to Michigan. So I kind of want to correlate those two. When you come up short, just short of a national championship, you know, is does that determine the success on the year, or do you actually, you know, all those things that you accomplished individually, you still feel really good about what you were able to come in and bring to the team in your freshman season?
That's a great question. I actually really like this a lot because when you're in club gymnastics, you're competing for yourself. You're competing only for you. And when you go to college, it is complete opposite. You are competing for this team and this university, and that's all. Like the individual things, awesome, amazing, but like the team things are what lasts forever. So my freshman year coming in, like, it was so much fun, and we accomplished so many things during season. We really didn't know what to expect during season because it was right out of COVID, so it was the first actual season we could have right after COVID, so we were kinda just going through and just doing what we possibly could that year. It was our goal to obviously win at the end, and Michigan won, and that was absolutely incredible for them. They did amazing and they deserved that. Something that we look back on is not just the ending, not just getting second at nationals. It was kind of what we accomplished throughout the year. And that kind of goes for this previous year too. Like we accomplished so many things throughout the year. Like that last meet, of course, you want to compete your best and do your best. But if you look back at the entire year that we had, it means so much more to us than just focusing on that loss, if you know what I
Mhm.
mean. And obviously, like competing up there, you feel like everybody watching the sport is like, oh, they're individually up there competing that event. But whenever you're up there, you're like, I'm doing this for the team. I want to get the best score for the team, not the best score for myself so that I can win something. It's so that I can help the team so that we can get farther and farther. Like every single day in the gym, you're cheering for your teammate, you're helping them through it because at the end of the day, you cannot win a NCAA team championship by yourself. Like,
Not at
absolutely not.
all.
You have to have every single one of those people on your team working towards that same goal, and that's how you win championships. Having that team chemistry, working hard with each other, really motivating each other and pushing each other. That is what gets you to the end and what gets you those wins. And individually, it doesn't really, I mean, of course, like it's cool, like it's great, it's awesome, but like it just means so much more when you win as a team.
Absolutely. And, you know, I'm going to kind of fast forward and then come back just because you brought it up. I was in Fort Worth, you know, watching what happened. And I mean, I couldn't believe it just because, you know, well-oiled machine is the best way to put it. All season just felt like y'all could do nothing wrong. But that was when, as a person, I fell in love with Danielle Severs because
Yeah.
I was down on the front row watching her. And as, you know, things were going wrong, I was watching her comfort every single one of the ladies that, you know, had a miscue. And then even furthermore, when you came away from the vault and was over at the beam, I was watching her still dancing and having fun and trying to just keep everybody in good spirits. And that's when I was just like, you know, I had already seen it. I'd already interviewed her, but I was like, she really is. It's not one of those on paper, she's an amazing person. Like I'm seeing it with my own eyes, and I'm just watching her be what you want from a team leader. And so it was really, really cool because, you know, I'm sure how hard that situation's got to be because that was the first time all year y'all had that type of adversity, right? Where things were going wrong. And so that's where your leaders have to step up. And I think that's why the energy the rest of the way for y'all, y'all killed it the rest of the way. Y'all were your typical selves. The camaraderie was great. And so I think that was very important. But coming back around to freshman season, I had to go back and watch the videos because while I said I've become more well versed in gymnastics, I'm not going to pretend I'm a pro. And you know, your vault routine going from the Yurchenko full to the 1.5, and I had to see what that actually looked like. You changed that mid-season. So how hard of a change is that, or is that something that you were already practicing before the season? So it got to where y'all said, okay, we can go ahead and make this change.
Yeah, so, well, back to Danny really quick. She's my roommate and she's my absolute best friend. She's just the best person in the entire world. And
I told her her smile is like the most infectious thing in the world.
yeah, there's just no bad things to say about her. She is truly an incredible person and teammate. Like no matter what, she'll help you through anything you're going through. But back to the vault. I was practicing 1.5s the entire year, the entire season. During on the side during practice, I was really focusing on it so that eventually I could put it in during competition. And going from a full to a 1.5, like for me, was actually very hard because I'd never competed a 1.5 before. Like that is not something that you really do whenever you're in elite gymnastics. It's usually a double full. And that's pretty much it. So I was learning how to do that at the same time, competing a full consistently. And then once my 1.5 got really consistent in competition, that's whenever I started putting it out there in, or once it started getting consistent in practice is whenever I started putting it out there in competition. So I was definitely working on that the entire season on the side. And then once it was ready, we just brought it out. And I think that's how it is for a lot of people and their routines and the skills they're working on. We
Mhm.
work on them the entire season nonstop. And then once it's ready and consistent and the coaches see that you're ready to do it, you go out there and you compete it.
Yeah, and it's one of those things that, like I said, on not being a pro, um, learning that there's going to be changes or no. And that's actually, so I would obviously prefer to be in person. It's unrivaled in person, but I do like watching on TV just so, because they already have that information, right? And so they'll let us know ahead of time that you're fixing to try that in your routine, and so you're watching for these things and these differences. And so that's the one cool thing about it. But it's one of the things that I've had to get versed up on and learn more and more. And then I'm just still so way behind, right? Whereas if my host Daniel was here, he's the one that got me into gymnastics. So shout out to him. Is actually Oklahoma was, as a matter of fact, I hate to bring it up, but but you already talked about it. I'm pretty sure the first thing I've ever watched gymnastics was Oklahoma, Michigan in that national championship. I was at his house in Florida, and we watched that. And his wife is huge into it. His daughter is 6. She's been in gymnastics since she was 2, and so they watch it with her, and she gets all excited watching it. But yeah, they're a full on gymnastics family, and I watched that. But that was actually, I watched that and I was like, man, this is pretty exciting stuff. And then we had Kaya on the show, and it kind of took off. Like I fell in love with it. Like
Yeah.
I genuinely feel like it's the second sport to me over all the other sports we watch and talk to, especially like I said in person, because it's so incredible to see the things y'all do. It's My son said it best. He went up to Haley Bryant after a meet, and it was so perfect. Because it was literally authentic and not planned. He just walks up to her and tells her, "You know what? You're not human because what you do is like an alien." And like he was like 10, 9, whatever at the time. And that's what he felt like. He felt like watching the things she was doing didn't seem like something a human could do. Right,
That's
and I
funny.
thought it's pretty accurate. I mean, like y'all just doing stuff that just is incredible, and he saw it in person, and that was what came to mind. So, but getting to sophomore season, obviously you had that first taste freshman season, and you finished in second, but now it's time to crank it up. It's time to take care of business, and y'all did. But I think there were two key parts of that season. Something that maybe y'all didn't have this past season that we were just talking about because y'all were such a well-oiled machine. But you had two key losses, right? Utah and Florida, which are two of the top teams in the nation. So teams that you expect to see in the finals. Do you feel like those losses were important to show that you weren't invincible and that there were still improvements and adjustments that need to be made?
Yeah, so we actually talk about this kind of often is like whenever you're in a regular season and you're competing against all these teams, like you're going to each other's home meets and stuff like that, like you show up and you do your absolute best and like whatever happens happens. And I think that getting those losses during regular season really helped us in postseason. So at nationals that year we were in dead last after the first rotation, like absolute last. And I think that if we didn't have those losses, like we wouldn't have known like how to fight back and what to do because during regular season, losing against Utah, losing against Florida, like it really pushed us to be better in the gym and learn how to lose and then get back out there and figure it out and do better the next time to beat
Mm,
our last competition that we went to. So our goal is to get better every single meet we compete at. Like our goal is to improve upon ourselves. Like of course every other team is doing whatever their goals are throughout the season, but ours specifically is to go out there, compete, and then the next competition do better than the last one. So we're competing against ourselves the entire year. And having those losses really pushed us to be better and learn how to lose and then get back up and go after it again. And if we didn't have that, nationals would have been a lot different. I think we really got pushed to be better people, better gymnasts, better teammates throughout that meet. We were in last, and then we really put our butts in gear and went after floor. We went to vault, we nailed bars, and then we nailed beam. And that's how we won that year. It ended up absolutely amazing. And a lot of people are like, oh, if you compete and you're in dead last after the first rotation, like it's impossible to win. And if you get a 48 on an event out of
mhm.
50, like it's impossible to win. But we were like, it's not over until it's over.
Mm.
That is
Well,
something.
and it also matters with what you start with because every team has their best event. So
Yeah.
that definitely isn't true with within itself because just to use LSU for example, unless they did bad on floor off the top, then you know that no matter what they still got floor waiting, and you always have a chance. So every team, and for Oklahoma, there isn't anything y'all are bad at. So y'all can catch up with anything, but I just thought it was important, especially the two teams that y'all lost to, because you know that there are teams that you're going to see in the end. So it tells you, hey, we have work that we got to do. We're not the best team just quite yet. And like you said, ultimately y'all did end up hoisting the trophy. So for you, that first time being a national champion, you talked about it when we were talking about not being an individual but being a team. For all the hard work that you ladies did to come to fruition and win that trophy together, just how awesome was it?
It was indescribable. Like winning that team national championship, especially with the meet that we had and going from last to first, means the absolute most because we all collectively came together as a team and competed our absolute best after that floor rotation. Like we knew what it took to win, and we went out there and we did that. We trusted each other, we pushed each other. We really relied on our training. Like every single day in the gym, we look back and we're like, okay, we hit these routines all the time. It's no different in competition. Like you know exactly what you're doing. So that trophy, like everybody always asks like which one was our favorite, which one means more and stuff like that, like which championship we won means more. And I definitely think that that specific year 2022 means a little bit more to me just because of where we started and where we ended. Like we got to that top position by really pushing ourselves and digging deep. Like if we had stepped back and just let it be, then we wouldn't have been on top at the end. And we really just pushed each other and dug deep and brought it out, brought that dog in the fight. So it was a lot of fun.
I love it. I love the way you put it. But I actually don't ask that question. I never ask which one is better. I always ask, and so I'll go ahead and get to it. Does the second one feel the same as the first one, or does it feel more exciting? When you get that second one. Because for some it's with like it's just a national championship. We've done that before, but talking to your teammates, none of them felt that way. The second one, they said it felt even more incredible because I mean, it's pretty simple. You get to say you're a two-time champ. I mean, and
Yeah.
not many people can say that.
And you can say back to back champion. Like two time is cool, but back to back is even cooler. And that year, so obviously I kind of talked about it a little bit, like which one kind of I wouldn't say
I
that.
mean, I told you I saw y'all in person that year at LSU, and that was the first time I saw y'all in person. Was 2023, and I knew that y'all were going to win it all. I mean, no mercy. Like I said, my girl Kaya Johnson, my favorite gymnast, is hurt. Y'all did not care. Y'all took us to the woodshed, hurt our feelings. I think beat us by almost 2 full points, and it was like, this is ridiculous. Like, I mean, I'm watching y'all, and y'all are nailing everything. And at that time, I was like, even drinking the haterade. I was like, their floor music isn't even good. I was like, that kind of thing. Like, I was texting Daniel. I was like, I'm not impressed. I was being such a hater. It was funny.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people didn't want us to win that year. They wanted someone else to take it, and we took that as motivation. We really did. We took that and we ran with it. We're like, "You know what? You don't want us to win, we'll prove you wrong. We're going to prove you wrong because that's not right." So, we just it was so cool. Like back to back was absolutely amazing, and you look back on those moments, and really the things you remember are your teammates, like the things that your teammates accomplished, the things that you got to see happen, the people going up and competing their best routines they possibly could have. Like all of those things add up together, and whenever you come together as a team and you have that team chemistry, that's whenever you get that trophy at the end. So both of those championships will just forever be like in my mind and be an important thing in my life. And obviously, like the accolades and all of those things don't last forever in life. Like they always end, and that's not how it ends in life, but they're always just incredible to think of the memories, the people that you were with, instead of like, oh, it was just a trophy. Like, no, I won that with these people, and I could list off every single person on that team. And it was amazing being able to see my teammates accomplish that together.
Yeah, it's never about the hardware itself. It's about everything that comes with it. But the rooting against y'all is a real thing because I actually saw it in Fort Worth. Saw the Utah and Florida fans actively rooting against y'all, and when y'all had multiple girls fall on vault, I saw literal clapping. And I was telling Danielle, it was such a weird thing, right? Because I hate that kind of sportsmanship, but y'all were so good and looked so unbeatable that I think they got this feeling of like, it doesn't make the way they were acting okay, but I was like, they actually believed that they could beat y'all, because I had even said all year, even with everything I had seen from LSU, went to 5 meets in person, went to SEC championships, all that. I still didn't think that they could beat y'all. I mean, y'all were, like I said, a well-oiled machine. And so when y'all started having miscues, I think that's the reason people celebrated, because the juggernaut that is Oklahoma might actually fall, and so it really was crazy, and that's why I thought the losses in the previous seasons I think are important, right? Because it's what you talked about, right? Handling adversity in the moment. I don't know. I've seen it in every sport, Audrey. It's not just gymnastics. Like if baseball is the sport I cover the most. The last three national champions, they all got punched in the mouth, before postseason started. And I feel like, I don't know, like somewhere along the line, I feel like there's got to be a hiccup, like because perfection is just like this thing that seems like it doesn't really happen in sports.
Yeah, I agree. I think that it kind of makes you a better person. Like, obviously, in sports, you win some, you lose some. That's just how it goes. And the way we're going, we had the best season out of any university that has ever been. Like, we recorded the highest score out of any women's gymnastics team ever. Like all of those things, that's what we look back at during this season. We don't really focus on, I mean, obviously we focus on the last day that we competed, and that fuels our fire, but we're also looking back at like we did all of these things throughout season, and next year we're going to do even more. Like our goal is
Yeah, I
to
mean,
beat ourselves. And
your scores that were popping up, y'all's worst days were some teams' record-setting days. Like me and Daniel, we laughed about that. Like, teams hitting 198 for the first time, and I'll look, and on that same day, y'all got a 198.7, and it's like it's just crazy. And like you said, some teams get favoritism in home cooking. LSU's even one of them, and basically most of your SEC teams. These scores y'all were putting up were at neutral sites or on the road and everything. And so it wasn't even like, oh, you could say Oklahoma gets taken care of at home. Like it didn't matter where y'all were. Y'all were putting up those scores, and it was so dominant, and y'all would face other top 10 teams, and just it didn't even feel like a top 10 matchup the way y'all took care of them. It was almost like I laughingly joke and say God said y'all are just too good. Y'all need to be humbled. Like that's why you aren't going to win it all. But you talked about feeding the fire, and that's what I've talked to about with your teammates. I feel like y'all are already going to be scary good. I mean, when you talk about the upperclassmen alone with yourself and Danielle and Jordan, and Faith, like it's just unreal the amount of talent. And then we even talked to Addison and the young ladies y'all having it. It almost feels unfair, but adding in the fact that y'all are fueled from how last season ended, um, y'all are gonna be scary good. There's no other way to put it. And I don't think like it has to do with meeting all of y'all. That's why I think it's important, right? Y'all are probably looked at in a villainous way, right? Because y'all are so good. But it's like I challenge y'all to listen to their episodes and listen to these ladies and actually want to actively root against them, because I know that I couldn't. And so um, we know that it's not personal for y'all. Y'all aren't out gonna to take out other teams just because of anything dislike. Y'all are just gonna take care of business and do what y'all trained to do. So with that being said, just how much confidence, even with how last year ended, is there? Because I mentioned the upperclassmen. I mean, rarely do you see a team where you have that many elite gymnasts coming back.
Yeah, I mean, I think that our confidence hasn't been torn down. Like, obviously, I've talked a lot about how the season went and how many things we achieved throughout the season. We're focusing on those things, and then we're allowing the last day to boost our confidence and boost our motivation for this next year, because that's like the most important thing. You can't just sit there and dwell on that day. Like, you have to allow it to give you more motivation for the next season. So that gives us so much motivation. And I don't think that anyone's confidence is down in the gutter. Like, we all know, like, it's gymnastics, it's a sport, like, things happen. It's not like you can control it. It's all in God's hands, and whatever happens. Like, he is going to prepare us for what we are needing in life. And whenever we take a step back and we look at just how amazing it is to be able to be on a D1 athletics team the way that we are and have so many championships in the past. Like, looking up, that gives you confidence and motivation to follow in the footsteps of the people before. And something that KJ actually talked about not that long ago in practice was asking the freshmen, like, you guys watched nationals, right? Like, that gave you fire, right? Like, you're not just going to sit here and settle for less. You're going to come in here, and you're going to fight, and you're going to do the best gymnastics you possibly can, because you guys don't want that feeling. You want the feeling of winning. And when we're all on that same page and we're all working towards a goal, like whether it's winning first place or getting a 199 in the meet, like, we're all on that same page, and we have to have the utmost confidence in the entire world to be able to go up there and compete again next year with that fire in us.
Absolutely. Well, something that I haven't mentioned yet, and I was gonna save it for last to make you laugh. One of the things I do when I'm at meets is I only record the guests of our show, right? Because I'm big on promoting them. And I bring that up because I was sitting right in front of bars and beam. I was rotating with each section, sitting on the very first row in front of everything. And so I watched you be absolutely incredible on beam and bars with the best seat in the house, which you ended up winning the national championship in both and did not record any of them. And I literally am disgusted with myself for it because, I love putting these clips on YouTube. And now that you are a guest, like I could promote them and say, this is our guest, but I didn't. And I hate it because, especially for me, I felt like your beam routine was absolutely incredible. So just so you know, I was right there with the best seat, but I have no footage and no proof of it. That was actually when I was taking in watching Danny getting all the other girls dancing and having fun. Because, like I said, at that point, y'all are down, you're in last, and that could be a point where y'all are sitting there, very angry and not enjoying it for what it's worth. But that's not what I was seeing from y'all's team. So it's really, really cool. But that I'd be remiss if I glossed over and did not acknowledge you. I know we talked about it's not individual, but you did take home the bars and the beam, and so really impressed and proud of you for that.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I guess this year you'll have to come to more meets so then you can video all of us.
Yeah, there you go. I mean, basically, I mean, now I can just definitely just need to get a press pass and get down there and record the whole thing.
Yeah.
Which I mean, I'll be honest, y'all's media team is, and you know, we talk about LSU a lot. Those got to be the best too, because I follow a lot of them on Instagram, and the amount of videos that y'all put. I mean, we are still months away, and they are already putting out videos just to hype everybody up. Like that's what made it easy to go buy the season ticket because it was actually attached with an advertisement for that.
Yeah.
And you watch the video and it's like, oh, it's incredible. Like, all right, I got to get it. And then when I saw how much they were, I was like, oh, I definitely got to get one. I'm
Yeah.
actually hoping my son will want to go with me. He's a big time LSU, obviously, because I kind of created him and molded him that way. But maybe I can get him to want to do Oklahoma. But one last thing, and then we'll play this or that. I didn't want to gloss over this either. You know, we talk about homeschooling to high school and, you know, the academic portion. You have made multiple all academic teams. So, you know, how important is that to you to, you know, spotlight the fact that you have not just got it done on the mat, but you've also got it done in the classroom?
Yeah, I mean, when you come to college, like you are a student athlete, like student comes first. And that's something that KJ really instills in all of us is focusing on our schoolwork. Like gymnastics is only a small part of your life, but schooling will get you to where you want to be in the future. And whenever you take the time to focus on that, like you'll be way more successful in the future than if you're only focusing on your athletic abilities. And obviously, like you come here, you want to compete and do the best, but you also want to compete and do the best in the classroom too. Like our goal for the team every year is to get the highest GPA out of our university, and then also out of any other like gymnastics team is our goal to get the highest GPA we possibly can. Like that is a goal of ours, so we set goals in the classroom as well. And just we have so much help. We have so many resources to be able to help us with our academics. We have like the academic center with tutors, we have mentors, we have advisors, we have anything. We have little study cubicles. Like when you take advantage of those things that the university provides, you really can do the absolute best in the classroom. And I think it's the competitiveness in all of us. We want to do the best in the classroom as well as the competition floor. So you can't bring that competitive out of us.
Yeah, and I love that you said it, you know, putting a student athlete. It's especially with NIL recently, right? Like it feels like it's gotten lost in everything, and it's important that you say that because at the end of the day, you are, like you said, going to college for to get a degree, and you've talked about it. You're getting your master's, and you're maximizing what you're doing there. So getting it done on both. So very important, and for the younger listeners that are taking that in, hopefully they take that from you and understand that it's very important to take care of business with school while you're there. But it is now time to take care of business with a game we call This or That. Are you down to play?
Yep.
All right, very simple. I'll give you two options. You choose one or the other. You can't say both, can't say neither. So, in other words, you can't duck it like the who's the better athlete question, you or your brother.
Okay.
All right, this or that is brought to you by Chinook Seedery, 8 flavors mild to wild. We actually set up, speaking of NIL, the first NIL deal with Faith Torres from Oklahoma Gymnastics. First time we ever got a gymnast set up. So, you know, go check it out. Enter her code. I believe she was supposed to get it to me because I didn't remember it was. You know, Faith 25 or something like that. I'll figure it out. But just know you can get them through her. Also, athletic collection. We need to get more Oklahoma gymnasts like yourself. Need to get them on the posters. I do know that Oklahoma has many different sports athletes that you can get their posters. So shout out to Athletic Collection. Check them out as well. But let's get into it. What would you rather have, coffee or energy drink?
Coffee.
You are the first gymnast I think that has said that. Usually they say energy drink. So do you have a coffee spot you like to hit to regularly?
I actually make my coffee every morning. I usually have like one or two. I really there's this place called Sip at Selah. It's in Norman and it's so good. They have the best coffee ever. I'll go there and study a little bit and just get a really good coffee.
Nice. So yeah, and I asked that for a reason. You said that, and the LSU gymnast have the same thing. It's called Lighthouse, and it's right off campus. The worst thing that could have happened was because my daughter loves coffee, and when I saw that her dorm was right next to the Starbucks, I was like, oh no! I was like, pulling your debit card, and this is not going to
Yeah.
happen. All right, hard or soft shell tacos?
Soft.
You prefer beef, chicken, steak? What you like best?
I like beef and chicken. Well, not together, but, like, I like both of
Hey, why
those.
not together? My son and me, we actually we get this nacho bowl from a place down the street, and we get beef, chicken, and steak in our
Uh,
nachos with it all mixed up. So why
I
not get
bet
the
that's
full
good.
protein source? But
I
then
should.
again, y'all are athletes that probably have to watch what you do. You probably can't have that much protein bulked in, I'm sure.
I think it will be good. Maybe I'll have to try it next time.
All right, would you rather have a luxury car or a fast car?
Fast car.
I love it. We get luxury car way too much. I have a fast car, so I like that answer.
Yeah.
What is scarier, snakes or spiders?
Um, oh, you said I can't say. I don't think
You're not scared of either of them?
not really. Danny's terrified of spiders. They
So
have
am I. You can come to my house and kill them if you're not scared.
I mean, like, they're just so much smaller
I'll
than
put
us.
it to
I
you
feel
like
like
this.
maybe
I,
snakes, but I'm not that scared of
I
snakes
mean, I'll put
either.
it to you like this. I'm rebuilding my deck right now, and as soon as I pulled up the first board, I saw a spider underneath, and I started regretting that I was rebuilding it. Like I had to take like a 10-minute break before I went to the second board. I'm telling you, I don't
We
like
have
spiders.
a big spider web out the front of our apartment, and Danny wants to kill them, but I'm like, "It's okay, they're outside of our apartment, at
Oh,
least it's not in it." And then my mom at home, she's rebuilding a house, she's, like, completely gutted it and is redoing it, and when I go out there, she has this little pet snake that, hangs out under her air
ah,
conditioner, so
what
I
is
don't think I'm
wrong with
that
y'all?
scared of either. I mean, yeah, they're, like, not my favorite things in the world, but I'm not picky, I
No,
guess.
I'm really not that scared of snakes, but I am of spiders. So, all right, here comes the tough question for you: beam or bars,
Bars.
vault or floor.
Floor.
So bars or floor.
Bars.
All right, so bars in the end. Gotcha. All right, rom com or scary movie.
Scary movie.
Usually the typical answer. I'm starting to gauge that female athletes are more into the scary movies than the rom com. So men out there, I'm not even just talking about these girls. It seems like these women want to see scary movies. No more rom coms. Throw them out. I actually think men prefer rom coms because I actually like a good rom com. This next question has become more and more important to me ever since I went on vacation. Luxury swimming pool or beach?
I like the beach.
So I was even stationed in Florida and California and used to love the beach. And so maybe it's just the old man in me, but when we just went on vacation, the amount of sand, and we had the nicest swimming pool at our hotel, and we finally went to it, and I was like, why did we even go to the beach? Like here we have no sand. And I was the only one that felt that way, of course. And so I don't know, it's just the old man in me, but I feel like if you have a nice pool, who cares about the beach? But
Yeah,
I
I would
don't know.
definitely choose lake over beach, but a pool
We
you
we
can go
don't have
to.
that on purpose. Every guest has said that just like you. They will say that, and I said, "There's a reason I know. We have never found a guest that didn't like the lake for sure. So not because that's where all the fun happens, and you can play on all the toys and everything. So everybody's gonna want to go to the lake.
Yeah.
All right, last question, the money question, literally. All right, if I offered you $5 million or a third national championship, what are you taking?
A third national championship.
All right, so I decided I was going to make it harder because I knew you were going to say that. If I offered you $100 million or all three national championships when you won the third one, would you give me all three back and take the 100 million? Or are you keeping your championships?
Um, I think still the championship situation just because money comes and goes. I mean, you
Well, it's the
people
memories
have
that we
those.
were talking about, right? Like, because it was kind of cool. We had like I said, we had Paul Skeens on here, and we asked him $10 million or the first pick, or excuse me, the $10 million he got with the first pick in the draft, or his national championship. And so we actually had somebody who had literally just gotten $10 million, and he said he would give his money back and the pick and keep his national championship.
Yeah.
And that's when we realized, when y'all say this answer, it seemed like it may be truth, because we actually had somebody who had done it. But what was funny was when we asked Jordan Bowers that question, we were actually at a live event for Survivor, and Quintavious Burdett, who was playing in the Survivor game, because they show it after they've already done played, so he's there, and he heard her say that she would take her 2 national championships over 25 million, and he grabbed my headset and put it on and told her loudly that she was crazy. Like, I don't even think she knew what to say, because somebody randomly had hijacked it, and then he was so loud about it, but he could not believe, and it kind of shows why he played Survivor, right? To win $1 million. Clearly,
Yeah.
money is at the forefront and
Yeah, I
priority
mean,
of Q.
yeah, some people just, I mean, that's their goal in life, is to make as much money as possible. And obviously that's like nice, but you have the memories and the moments with the people you're with, and those mean a lot more than just a handful of money. And you can get a great job and make money later on in life, but the memories last a lot longer than your $100 million.
Well, the best was Trey Lipscomb, who plays for the Washington Nationals, because he was a multiple time guest, and he was aware of it. He flipped it on me, and he said, would you rather have $10 million or your podcast? And I was like, $10 million, duh. And he goes, no. He goes, think about what I'm telling you about all the memories that come with it. He goes, I've watched you and your son for the last 4 years. We've been to all the gymnastics championships, we've been to all the baseball national championship, football. If it's not me and my son, it's me and my daughter, or it's me and my wife. So everywhere, I'm getting to meet all these athletes and their families, just all the memories that come with it. Like, I mean, the list is incredible. And he's like, so you would take that away? And I was like, that's why I asked the question straight. He goes, exactly. So he's like, you get why we say that, because it's not about the hardware, it's
Yeah.
about everything else. And so when it got flipped on me and put in that perspective, it's like, but I like asking, because I mean, $100 million, that's a lot of money.
It is, it's life-changing, but you just, so is winning a national
Yeah,
championship and
3
having
of them. I mean,
so many.
I have a feeling you're gonna be able to do this after this year, and that's a pretty cool feeling, to hold your hand up like that. I mean, your hands, y'all are gonna get arthritis between, your conference championships and national championships. I mean, I'm actually worried about the health and well-being of you ladies. But with that, you're off the hot seat. Is there anything you want to plug or promote before you get off here?
Um, I have a leotard with ozone. Go buy it. It's absolutely amazing and super cute. And go buy your Oklahoma women's gymnastics season tickets now. They're only like $65, like you heard.
I mean, you can
And
literally pick any. I mean, I love that you have the seat chart, and obviously based upon where you want to sit and what may be your favorite event, or if you want to kind of be centralized. I love that you can not only just have it at a good price, but wherever you want to sit, you get to pick. It don't get better than that.
yep. And yeah, they're absolutely amazing. It's a ton of fun, and you're supporting our team and just the gymnastics community whenever you come to those meets.
Well, go check her out on Instagram at Audrey_Davis, and you will be able to see the ozone leotard as well as the other things that she's got going on. And like I said, OU Gymnastics is OU_gymnastics. Their videos, I mean, you can go check them out right now. The videos will get you hyped. You'll be upset that you have to wait a few more months before you can see it, but it will get you ready. But Audrey, really thank you for a day. You have been just like the rest of your teammates, and like I said, it makes it hard to not root for y'all. So I really appreciate you coming on here and sharing your story.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. That's Audrey Davis, everybody. If you like hearing her story, or you just like hearing us average Joes talk X's and O's, please like and share the podcast on Facebook, retweet us on Twitter, listen and subscribe on Apple, Spotify, and Anchor. As always, ratings, comments, hugs, love, feedback, all that good stuff is welcome. We will see everyone back tomorrow night. Me and Daniel will be back. We'll have Coach Bobby Miranda. He did 25 years of coaching multiple different baseball teams in the ACC. So we're going to get a coaching perspective from a guy who had a lot of years in the game, now working for ESPN in the booth. But in the meantime, remember, strong body, sharp minds, grit and grind all the time. We are